Nobody talks about how boring getting rich actually is. There's no viral moment, no lucky break, no one morning where you wake up and suddenly everything clicks. The truth is, the people quietly stacking their first $100,000 aren't doing anything flashy. They're not day trading crypto at 2 in the morning. They're not flipping houses on the weekends. They're doing things so painfully ordinary that most people scroll right past them, and that's exactly why they work. Because here's what the finance world doesn't want you to know. Wealth isn't built in the highlight reel. It's built in the habits nobody posts about. So today we're going to walk through 15 of those habits, the ones that are so unsexy, so unglamorous, so brutally simple that most people ignore them entirely. But the people who don't ignore them, they're the ones who hit $100,000 in savings while their friends are still wondering where their paycheck went. Let's get into it. Habit number 1, they automate everything and forget about it. Marcus makes $60,000 a year. Every single payday, before he can even think about spending anything, $250 moves automatically into his investment account. He didn't decide to do it that morning. He decided once, set it up, and never touched it again. That's the entire secret. The single biggest enemy of saving money isn't a lack of discipline. It's the moment between getting paid and deciding what to do with it. Automation eliminates that moment entirely. You never see the money, so you never miss it, and you never spend it. Habit number 2, they track every single dollar, even the embarrassing ones. Priya thought she was pretty responsible with money. Then she started tracking her spending for 30 days. She found $47 a month on subscription services she'd completely forgotten about, $60 on food she threw away, $22 on apps she'd downloaded and never opened. Tracking isn't about judging yourself, it's about seeing clearly. You cannot fix what you cannot see, and most people are operating completely blind. The simple act of writing down where your money goes, even if you don't change anything at first, starts rewiring how you think about spending. Habit number 3, they cook at home more than they eat out. This one stings a little because food is one of life's genuine pleasures, but let's do the math. The average American household spends over $3,000 a year eating out. If you cut that in half and invested the difference at a 7% average annual return, in 10 years you'd have over $21,000 sitting in your account from lunch. That's not about becoming a monk who eats plain rice and salads. It's about being intentional. Cooking at home 4 or 5 nights a week instead of 2 or 3 is enough to move the needle significantly. Habit number 4, they wait 72 hours before any non-essential purchase. 72-hour rule is one of the simplest psychological tools in personal finance, and almost nobody uses it. Here's how it works. Anytime you want to buy something that isn't food, bills, or a genuine necessity, you wait 3 days. If you still want it after 72 hours, you buy it without guilt. If you don't, you just save that money. The reason this works is simple. Most impulse spending is driven by a feeling in the moment: boredom, stress, excitement, social comparison. 3 days later, the feeling has passed. The research backs this up. Studies show that a significant portion of unplanned purchases are regretted within days of buying them. The 72-hour rule turns impulse spending into intentional spending. Habit number 5, they drive their car into the ground. This one is genuinely one of the most powerful wealth-building habits on this entire list, and it is deeply unsexy. Derek drives a 2014 Honda Civic with 140,000 miles on it. His coworkers upgraded to new trucks and SUVs 2 years ago. Derek instead put the $1,200 a month he would have spent on a car payment into index funds. Over 2 years, while his coworkers were watching their vehicles depreciate, Derek accumulated nearly $30,000 in investments. A new car loses roughly 20% of its value the moment it leaves the lot. The average monthly car payment in America is now over $700. Keeping a paid-off, reliable vehicle is one of the single fastest ways to free up cash flow for wealth building. Habit number 6, they say no a lot. Here's a social truth that nobody wants to admit. A huge percentage of spending is driven by other people. The friend group trip, the birthday dinner at the expensive restaurant, the round of drinks you didn't really want, the colleague's fundraiser, the concert tickets because everyone else was going. High earners who struggle to save money often aren't struggling because of their fixed expenses. They're struggling because they can't say no to social spending. Learning to say no gracefully, without guilt and without long explanations, is a foundational wealth skill. "That doesn't work for me right now" is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone your financial future. Habit number 7, they live below their means even when they could afford more. This is where most people fall apart, and it's completely understandable. You get a raise, you upgrade your apartment. You land a bonus, you buy the thing you've been eyeing. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is the silent killer of wealth. The people who build savings fastest are the ones who experience income growth without immediately translating it into lifestyle growth. James got a 15% raise last year. He moved 20% of that raise into savings and spent the rest. His lifestyle improved slightly, his savings rate improved significantly, and his net worth went up faster than it ever had before. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is the only thing that builds wealth. Every time that gap widens, your future gets stronger. Habit number 8, they have one high-yield savings account for emergencies, and they don't touch it. Before you invest a single dollar in the stock market, you need a financial shock absorber, 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account earning between 4 and 5% interest. This fund is not for vacations. It's not for a sale. It's not for anything except a genuine emergency, job loss, medical bill, car breakdown, unexpected home repair. Without this buffer, one bad month forces you to pull money out of investments, rack up credit card debt, or borrow from family. With it, a bad month is just a bad month. The emergency fund is boring. It is also the foundation everything else is built on. Habit number 9, they pay themselves first, before bills, before fun, before anything. Most people save whatever is left over at the end of the month. High savers flip that equation entirely. The very first transaction that happens after a paycheck lands is moving money into savings or investments. Not rent, not groceries, not Netflix. Savings first, everything else second. This reframes your entire financial psychology. Instead of asking, how much can I save? At the end of the month, you're asking, how much can I live on, with what's left after saving? It sounds like a small shift, but it changes everything about how you relate to your money. Habit number 10, they don't try to impress anyone. This one might be the most financially destructive force in modern life. The luxury car to look successful, the watch to signal status, the vacation photos to signal a life well lived, the outfit worn once because someone at work might notice you repeat outfits. The Bureau of Labor Statistics found that the average American household spends tens of thousands of dollars annually on things that are largely driven by how they want others to perceive them. The wealthy people building serious net worth have largely opted out of this game, not because they're cheap, because they've realized that the people they're trying to impress are too busy worrying about their own image to notice. Status spending is the tax on insecurity. Stop paying it. Habit number 11, they invest consistently, regardless of what the market is doing. This habit sounds simple. In practice, it is one of the hardest things to do because the news is always screaming that now is the worst possible time to invest. Markets up, bubble. Markets down, crash incoming. Political uncertainty, wait for clarity. Economic slowdown, hold cash. There is always a reason not to invest, and people who wait for the right moment statistically underperform people who just invest every single month no matter what. Time in the market beats timing the market. The investor who put in $500 a month into a broad index fund every month for 15 years, regardless of market conditions, almost always outperforms the investor who tried to pick the perfect moments. Consistency is the strategy. Habit number 12, they have a financial plan, even a simple one. You don't need a spreadsheet with 40 tabs. You don't need a certified financial planner charging $300 an hour, but you do need a plan, even a one-page document that answers, how much am I making, how much am I spending, how much am I saving, what am I saving for, and how long will it take? Without any plan, money management becomes purely reactive. You respond to bills, to wants, to social pressure, to whatever life throws at you. With a plan, even a rough one, you have something to return to, a direction, a number you're working toward. The research is consistent. People with written financial goals accumulate significantly more wealth than people without them, even at the same income levels. Habit number 13, they increase their savings rate every single year. Diana saved 10% of her income in year 1. In year 2, she bumped it to 12. Year 3, 14. She didn't make a massive sacrifice all at once. She made small, incremental increases that she barely felt. By year 5, she was saving 20% of her income, and it didn't feel painful because she'd arrived there gradually. This habit is powerful because it connects savings growth to life growth. As your income goes up, your savings rate goes up slightly too, and the compounding effect of that incremental increase over a decade is enormous. 1 extra percentage point per year sounds trivial. Across 10 years, it can mean the difference between hitting your first 100,000 in a decade versus half a decade. Habit number 14, they learn continuously about money. The financial system is complex by design. Credit scores, tax brackets, investment vehicles, compound interest, inflation, asset classes, expense ratios. These aren't things taught in school, and that gap in knowledge is extremely expensive for the people who never fill it. The high savers on this list spend a consistent amount of time, even just 30 minutes a week, learning about personal finance, books, podcasts, videos like this one. Not because they're obsessed with money, but because they understand that every gap in their financial knowledge is costing them. A person who understands how a Roth IRA works will save tens of thousands in taxes over a lifetime versus someone who doesn't. Knowledge is compounding too. Habit number 15. They stay patient when everything in the culture tells them to hurry. This is the hardest one because we live in a world that is obsessed with speed. Get rich quick, financial freedom by 30, retire early, 6 figures in 6 months. And for the vast majority of people, that pressure to hurry creates poor decisions, high-risk bets, panic selling, chasing trends, abandoning solid strategies for exciting ones. The people who actually hit their first 100,000 are almost always the ones who accepted early on that this takes time. Not decades of misery, but years of steady, consistent, boring action. They don't compare their chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. They run their own race, they stay the course, and they let time and compound interest do what they always do. So there you have it, 15 habits, none of them exciting, none of them going viral on social media, but every single one of them is real, proven, and available to anyone willing to apply them consistently. Here's the thing about your first $100,000. Financial experts call it the hardest 100,000 to build because you're doing it mostly with income and discipline, not with the momentum of existing wealth working for you. Every dollar in that first 100,000 is earned through behavior, through choices, through exactly the kind of boring, intentional habits we just walked through. But once you hit it, the game changes. That 100,000 starts working for you. At a 7% average annual return, $100,000 becomes $200,000 in roughly 10 years, without you adding a single additional dollar. You've crossed a threshold where your money has started generating real money of its own. The first 100,000 is the hardest. It's also the most important. Start with one habit from this list. Just one. Automate your savings. Track your spending for 30 days. Apply the 72-hour rule to your next impulse purchase. Pick the one that fits where you are right now and make it automatic before you do anything else. The boring path is the one that works, and if you stay on it long enough, it becomes anything but boring.